Family, what is up? Welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new to the channel, please make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. If you guys clicked on this video and you guys never seen my face or seen me with my partner, she's obviously missing right here right now, you know what I'm saying? But usually she's here. But if you guys were interested in seeing what these videos are about, super excited to tell you that you're gonna fall in love with what you're gonna see and just the context and the conversation that we have in this channel. So if you guys are all about elevated conversations and stuff like that, you are in the right channel. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. efamilymedia is the name on Instagram as well, so make sure you guys also follow us there if you guys haven't already. And I gotta give a big thank you to the people that have been sending us DMs on Instagram. You guys are making it so much easier for us to add to the to the watch later playlist. So I appreciate you guys truly. I'm super excited for the up and coming videos that we're going to be checking out. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully you guys are going to enjoy them, which I know you guys will, because we're here to learn more about BTS. And we all know this. Like I said, another video by Boracity magazine. If you guys haven't, her link, her information is all going to be in the description below. So make sure that you guys follow her. What I'm not understanding, low key, is why isn't Boracity have at least 100,000 subscribers? Why hasn't that happened? I feel like she's one of the best to do it. I truly appreciate all of her videos. They're very informative. And to be honest, she's the one that's teaching me this journey without her even knowing, to be honest, because these are the videos that we've been watching the most. So without her knowing, she's created a new army member. And if you guys are not army yet or are interested in becoming army, you guys are going to be able to learn with me. You know what I'm saying? To get to know the boys in a deeper level. Today we're going to be checking out Be Yourself or Be a Star, BTS groups from the 90s and the 2010s. So we obviously know that the dynamic and the brotherhood that BTS have is once in a lifetime. So that's never going to be something that's imitated or created. This is something that just naturally happened. And because of that, this is never going to be able to be formulated by anybody. You know what I'm saying? Maybe years, ahead of our time, there's going to be another group that fall in the same category and they do amazing things like BTS. But for someone to just be like, okay, we're going to create the next BTS, never going to happen. So I'm excited to check this out and see a little bit of a history lesson. You know how we do over here. So let's get it.
Although I wasn't necessarily a fan, I've always been curious about the idea of musical groups with multiple members with different voices. Before, we used to call them boy bands and girl bands. Now bands are more associated with musical ensembles, and the terms boy group and girl group are more common. But whatever you want to call them, I was interested in these types of groups. I was especially interested in the puzzle I created in my mind for these groups. Are these members part of what appears to be a complex puzzle, a simple puzzle, a disproportionate one?
That shows a lot, right? Because as we know, and we've talked about before, some of these artists feel they're bigger than the program, so they decide to do solo careers. Now, there's nothing wrong with going about and doing your own thing, but the way that they do it, it's like they're pretty much looking out for themselves and not for the group. See, the difference between, let's say, a Justin Timberlake and someone, let's say, like J-Hope, it's like they're still going to represent BTS no matter what. And we've seen this in videos where they're going to perform somewhere and they say J-Hope from BTS, V from BTS. Like, they always make sure that their name and where they're from is always linked together so people know who they are and what group they're from. Not like these guys right here, to be honest.
Is there a piece that maybe
Or
doesn't
these.
fit? Or are they just pretending they are part of the same puzzle? Recently, I saw a clip of the mentor that helped the British girl group Little Mix win their singing competition.
I let them be themselves, and I'd always say to them, don't do the whole, dressing up and the matchy, like, just do you. What do you want to wear? Talk about the things that you're passionate about. Just be you, be authentic.
And what she
And that's kind of the formula that BTS has right there, to be honest. That's one of the biggest factors that we appreciated when we first found out about how they run their program. So I wonder what happened with them, or if they're still, a thing, or did they, dismember? Who knows, right?
What do you want to wear? Talk about the things that you're passionate about. Just be you, be authentic.
And what she said reminded me of a big idea a lot of Western girl groups and boy groups tried to go by during the 2010s, which was, we should not be manufactured. We should just be ourselves,
Right.
normal boys and girls.
I was never really a fan of boy bands before.
When people say you're in a boy band, I'm like, yeah, I am, but I'm in a cool boy band.
Would you consider yourself a boy band?
No.
I don't think our music fits the description of a boy band. Like this music specifically, I don't think it fits the description of a boy band.
Our music's not as stereotypical as oh, your typical boy band.
We couldn't
So from the looks of it, it's like they all say the same thing, but they don't show that they're different, I guess you could say, in my opinion. Because obviously, well, honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. Some of these guys, I have no idea who they are. The girls, I have no idea who they are. I did see Destiny's Child earlier. I know this is One Direction, but as the other ones, I have no clue who they are. So, it's kind of like, what are we talking about here?
All of the boy band stereotypes. Choreographed dance routines and everything's the same.
They hate dancing with a passion.
There's been times when they've dressed us all in the same clothes and we're like, no, we can't do that.
Don't do the whole, dressing up and the matchy, like, just do you. Just be you.
You're still a normal person.
Yeah, I still feel pretty normal.
Me too, yeah, I'm 100% still normal too.
We are really nice with each other. Yeah, we're just laid back girls.
And what I'm about to say may sound controversial at first, but please hear me out and try to understand my entire point. I think groups should not just be themselves. Authenticity and being relatable are good things for a group. But I do believe that this wave of authenticity in groups during the 2010s was some kind of coping mechanism for boy groups and girl groups to not get the reputation of the outdated groups of the 90s. I remember that there was this repulsive reaction by young singers and teenage audiences to matching outfits, choreographed dances, and the star image. This was reflected a lot in media for teenagers at the time.
Wow.
Matching outfits?
This, my friend, is hot.
This, my friend, is not.
Can't hide behind these gimmicks anymore. What good is it to get famous if nobody knows who I really am? This is show business.
Interesting.
Wow, impressive.
I know, right? It's kind of my thing. It's a tough business.
Narcissistic, overproduced ego factory.
Welcome to the ego factory.
Wow. Good luck trying to find a spotlight big enough for the both of you.
Oh my gosh, he's showing Disney Channel stuff. And that is very, oh God.
You want to hear how the duet's supposed to sound?
Knows me like you do.
I'm talking massive dance number. 100 dancers, fireworks, the lot. Dance is just so hot right now.
We'd never do that.
Absolutely not.
We'd never wear that.
Ta-da!
Now this was of course in the Western music market, because in K-pop, appearing as normal was not a priority at all. The matching outfits, the flashy music videos, and the synchronized choreographies were the priority. Just thinking about the fact that certain K-pop groups and Western groups were active during the same time is crazy to me, because they were part of very different waves of groups. K-pop groups try to present themselves as superstars. That's why they are not even called K-pop singers, they are called K-pop idols. While Western groups try to present themselves as the complete opposite, just normal people, just the girl or the boy next door.
Okay, so I see the big difference here already, and I'm understanding what she's saying. So what she's saying is they tried too hard to be relatable to the people without really understanding that they're not even being real to themselves. because at some point you're going to try to please somebody so much that you're going to start losing yourself, especially if you get a hint of that power or that fame. You're going to want to continue to please that crowd. So you're going to end up losing yourself, because all you're going to do is just be a pleaser instead of becoming a leader. And, you know, feeding your audience what you want to feed them, you're going to kind of start listening to what they want you to feed them. You know what I'm saying? So pretty interesting. Pretty interesting.
Now, this sounds great. Singers are not superheroes, they are just people. However, I do believe this strategy created an acceptance for artistic mediocrity and disorder in musical groups. I believe this started to become really obvious to me when One Direction started to replace professional photo shoots for their album covers with random and, I'm sorry, ugly pictures. How did they manage to make 5
That's true. It's all about the detail, because if you really think about it, one of the things that I said when we kind of got a first preview of the albums that BTS has dropped is just the artistic covers that they have. Because one of the ones that I really enjoyed was, you know, the ones that look like a style, like a pencil drawing of, you know, little figures and stuff like that, or lines and stuff like that. But just the artistic piece that you're buying makes it a collectible. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're just getting something like this, it's kind of just generalized and ordinary, instead of getting something that you just get from BTS that is actually a collectible piece that you can just, even if you, let's say, get the vinyl, you could even put the vinyl on your wall, you know, make it look nice. But a picture like this is like if you're buying a poster, but just, you know, a little CD type thing. So I see how that wouldn't make sense at all. And they try to minimalize what an album cover should be, because yeah, it really doesn't make sense for it to be this basic. And like the picture is like, honestly, these pictures are pretty basic. You know what I'm saying? Like we got this dude right here. I don't even know his name, but you know, like the other one, like not even looking. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on here? Look at this. This was biting his lip. This guy's like this. This guy's not even looking at the camera. It's crazy. That's
Conventionally
crazy.
attractive men look bad in a heavily promoted album cover? I have no idea, but they did it. These were their official images, used not only on album.
Wow. These could have been taken on an iPhone. Nothing artistic about it. And I think, like I said, that's the problem. They're not seeing this as art. They're not seeing this as a collectible. They're not seeing it as something that could be talked about in a few years. Like, I saved this album as an art piece because these are the artists that I enjoyed during these years or whatever, you know? They're taking it in a more settling way, which is kind of lame, to be honest.
Covers, but they were also sent everywhere for promotions. This was how they chose to present themselves. Their performance stages also became less and less dynamic and professional looking as they were going harder with this idea of we just want to be ourselves. Like they said in their movie, "This is us." We physically cannot make ourselves match or look cohesive as a group. Now, I believe the final big and ultimate example of a group victim of this individuality over the look of the group mentality is Fifth Harmony. On red carpets, album covers, concerts, and performances, each member was doing their own thing. Which is funny because it seemed like they were at least trying to put on a cohesive show. Unfortunately, they were not doing their own thing while still making sense, like the Spice Girls who each had their own character. Let's remember that during the 90s and early 2000s, girl groups and boy groups followed individual tropes and archetypes but were still cohesive.
There was always the bad boy. I remember that.
Matching outfits and the choreographed dances helped create this image, but like I said, over the years, this started to look too manufactured. and the complete opposite became the trend. And it really was the trend. Once One Direction broke up in December of 2015, so many boy bands started to get heavily promoted. And there was a very obvious new look. Vibing more than synchronized dancing, regular mismatching outfits, and sometimes even one sole guitar player. It was very specific. That was until a certain Korean group made their American debut at the 2017 American Music Awards. That was BTS. BTS did not only successfully break into
Okay. So that's what it is. The big difference is, I understand, wanting to be yourself, but at the same time, you need to understand that in the industry there is a performance aspect to it. We're there as an audience to see someone perform. Like, for example, shout outs to the homie drummer boy right here. We went to go see him I want to say like a year ago. His stage presence, he's a rapper from LA, just so you guys know. He's a homie of ours, but his stage presence is really good, to be honest. For an LA artist, his stage presence is really good. He's from side to side. He's a rapper, so obviously there's no dancing or any of that. And there, you know what? I am lying. He does do his little gangsta boogie and stuff like that, but nothing, choreo that is choreography. But his stage presence, gives it that show. He doesn't have the lyrics in the music. He literally raps everything, so it makes you feel good, and you get to see that performance. You know what I'm saying? So with BTS, it's the same thing. If you're one of these groups that started off as, in your videos, you're dancing or you're vibing and things like that, it's like there's always a performance aspect that you got to give, because if you're just standing up there singing, that's out. It's boring. You know what I'm saying? So if you noticed, I'm over here looking at this. It's funny. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but I'm looking at this, and as soon as it said, Bora said, until a boy group from Korea, and they performed, I smiled, because I automatically knew who it was, and I already knew that performance was probably a banger. You know what I'm saying? So
and sometimes even one sole guitar player. It was very specific. That's was crazy. Until a certain Korean group made their American debut at the 2017 American Music Awards.
Let's go.
That was BTS. And BTS did not only successfully break into both the Western and K-pop industries, but they also changed what it means to be a group today.
Oh, Cat's Eye?
BTS managed to become the biggest group in both the Western industry and the K-pop industry, although they were the complete opposite of each other. Because they were the opposite of each other, there wasn't really any real crossover between these industries before them. A group was either the most popular in one industry or the other, not in both. So the question is, how did BTS do this? A lot of it simply has to do with the inevitable circumstances of BTS's debut. BTS had their debut in the K-pop industry in 2013, and just like the entirety of K-pop at the time, they were not even thinking of trying to seriously promote in the West. Previous attempts of K-pop in the Western music industry failed. Starting in 2008, when Rain appeared at the Stephen Colbert Show and Big Bang released an English language album. Then in 2009, Wonder Girls released a song in English, performed at the Wendy Williams Show, had a bunch of interviews in America, and they opened for the Jonas Brothers in their North American tour. In 2011, Girls' Generation released an album with an American label and a European label. They released a song in English and promoted it on an American morning show and the David Letterman Show. And obviously in 2012, Psy released Gangnam Style, which coincidentally became viral in the West as well. This created a lot of firsts in the K-pop industry. The first to perform in an American TV show, the first to release an English language album, the first. But these artists, including Psy, did not go further in this particular industry. They were not really able to integrate themselves in the Western music industry and create a Western following. So all of these massive K-pop artists went back to prioritizing and ruling the K-pop industry. No more American labels involved. No more American interviews and TV performances, and the rest of K-pop stopped trying as well. Like I said, this is in part because this image was outdated in the West. Around 2010, K-pop groups looked like Western groups from the 90s, especially when you put them next to One Direction or Fifth Harmony, the Western groups that were their contemporaries. So when Western groups and their normal image were at their peak, BTS debuted. As a K-pop group, they were expected to perform on K-pop music shows, promote in variety shows, and present themselves as superstars.
And you know what's crazy about this that I just started thinking while I'm listening to this? I did not have any interest in listening to any type of boy group, girl group, anything like that. I'm going to be honest with you. Like I said, it just happened randomly, and I just felt intrigued and fell in love with what I was listening to. And more deeper in love once I got into the storyline and what everything, we've gone through in the past couple of weeks. So for someone like me, to be honest, and I'm not saying this just to say it, I'm just saying it just as like, take it as is, but as someone like me that grew up on Tupac, grew up on nothing but 90s hip hop, like underground hip hop, some rock, a little bit of country, but that's it. Strictly hip hop, gangster stuff. So to me, this world was never something that I would have been interested in, to be honest with you. That's until you get to know who they are and get to see that, what? These rappers right here, they're pretty dope. And obviously I'm talking about the rappers in BTS, but these rappers are pretty dope. Like, let me give them a shot. Next thing you know, bam, fire. And then they have, obviously radio bangers like Butter and things like that. And then, once we started doing more of a deep dive and we got into, for example, we just did V. It's like, whoa, we just went into a whole soulful, path, but then you switch it and let's go to August D. And now you're in like some straight up barring up rap. You know what I'm saying? And then you go to RM and you got some more bars in a more like metaphorical way, if that makes sense. Because Suga is like a fast rapper. He's got bars. His melodies and everything is so different from, RM, obviously, because they're just different. But if I would have never gave these guys a chance, I think I would have definitely missed out. And I wouldn't have been here for this ride to be ready for 2026. So I'm definitely pushing for people that are not interested in BTS, that are like me, to give them a shot. Obviously not everybody's going to be open-minded because they don't want to listen to something that they're not going to understand, or they're just not open-minded enough to listen to another culture or what they're about. Some people are simple-minded where they just stay where they're at, and that's okay. Maybe it's just not for them, but little by little, if they keep continuing to watch these videos, they're gonna see what this is all about. Because literally, eFamily Channel was a channel of nothing but underground LA gangster rap. LA gangster rap. That's all we affiliated ourselves with. That was it. Ever since we made that big jump from that rap to now the mainstream media in Korea, is such a big difference. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people were probably surprised by how much of the content keeps coming out and the music that we're listening to because of what we were into and how, okay, I just thought of something. The other thing that I do have to say, just to switch that up, in this channel, we've always said to everybody, hey, we want to react to this. We want to check this out. We want to switch over to this. If you guys have, a different artist from another country, you know what I'm saying? We were always open to it. It just so happened that for some reason that night I was live streaming and I just thought of BTS because of my niece. And I'm like, you know what? Let me give this a shot. And then here we are now. You know what I'm saying? But if it wasn't for having that curiosity and being open-minded to learning about them, I would have never been here. You know what I'm saying? And I think I would have missed out on a lot of amazing content, a lot of amazing music, a lot of amazing messaging that they give. It's insane, you know? But let's get back into the video. Here we go. I'm always talking a lot, huh?
Perform on K-pop music shows, promote in variety shows, and present themselves as superstars. But their label didn't have the money or power to get them these opportunities, forcing them to promote mostly online. Now, this sounds crazy, but it's true. BTS were the only ones in the K-pop industry to promote mainly on social media. Before BTS, K-pop groups did not care about behind-the-scenes blogs, video diaries, or social media interaction. They were idols, and appearing as normal kids on the internet did not help create that image. But BTS had to promote online. When they started doing this, Western groups were at their peak, so BTS were slowly and silently growing online. But once One Direction broke up and Camila Cabello left Fifth Harmony, the downfall of relatable Western groups started. And among the many relatable groups trying to become the next big thing, BTS stood out. Because yes, they were normal guys sharing their songs on SoundCloud and directly talking to fans on social media, but they were not mediocre performers. BTS stood out as more professional, more organized.
Yeah.
They were the only group in the Western music industry actually putting on a show. And after years of celebrating mediocrity, BTS were a breath of fresh air. The circumstances in which BTS rose to The circumstances in which BTS rose to global fame were not all luck. Yes, the absence of a main group in 2016 and 2017 helped BTS be seen, but this visibility was applied to so many groups as well. And Western labels were the ones pushing all these groups at the same time.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the K-pop industry was, as always, ruled by the non-relatable idol groups, mainly part of the big three. What made BTS stand out, in my opinion, was the perfect balance. The idea of the manufacturer group was outdated in 2010, in 2016, and it still is today.
Yeah.
But if you came across BTS in 2016 or 2017, you saw both their normal, relatable, and more personal content and their undeniable talent in show-stopping performances. BTS did a little more than what everyone else was doing. That made them unstoppable. And
Facts. That did make them unstoppable. And forever, I will always preach this to anyone that doesn't know this, but I love the fact that they are vulnerable with us. They talk to us on live. They give us updates. You know, they give us content for us to get to know them and continue to keep updated with them. However, ARMY protects their, you know, their personal lives, and they don't cross that boundary. And forever, I'm gonna clap for that, because that's so unheard of, and I can appreciate ARMY seeing them as human beings that just want privacy, and we're okay with giving them that. And for that, oh my god, like honestly, that means a lot. That means a lot, because that helps them with their sanity. That helps them to develop better music, because they know for a fact that, hey, you know what, ARMY's got my back 1,000%. It's been proven. And if we're gonna, you know, have, you know, this time for ourselves, it's everything that ARMY does for BTS, whether it's airport stuff, whether it's just helping the community, whether it's, you know, matching whatever they're doing to giving them that privacy. It helps them have that ease of mind to be able to make the great music that they're gonna make for 2026. I'm so excited, dude. I'm so excited to listen to the new music. You have no idea.
that is why I have a problem with this motto by Western producers of groups of just be yourself. The wave of Western groups in the 2010s was iconic, but it was an artistic mess. Meanwhile, K-pop during the 2010s was an artistic exploration that was hard to appreciate and get attached to without the beautiful over-the-top visuals. BTS normalized attempting to balance both. Not just be yourself, not just be a star. Be complicated and multifaceted. BTS changed the group scene completely. Synchronized choreographies and matching outfits are back, and actually to a higher standard than they were during the 90s. But K-pop groups have to balance this with relatability. So only after BTS became the biggest group in the world, every K-pop group opened Twitter accounts, started doing blogs on YouTube, etc. But just like BTS, they may need the absence of the biggest. So after 6 years of being the undeniable biggest group, BTS had to go in an inevitable rest from group activities because they had to go to the military. That left other groups, K-pop or Western, about 3 years to climb to the top. Unfortunately for them, that time is basically over.
It is over. Everyone, pack your bags. You are out. You're out of here. It's about to be the year of BTS 2026. Mark my words. It's about to be crazy. And I think anyone that doesn't believe that is delusional. I'm not even gonna lie. The delusion is gonna be crazy. Because although there are some great groups, and I'm talking about Blackpink, because I like Blackpink, you know what I'm saying? They're fire. But there is not gonna be anyone that's gonna be able to top BTS. I'm telling you, once they come back, all their old music is gonna be replayed again, and then we're gonna get ready for the new project. It's gonna be amazing.
And during these years, the overall popularity of groups has actually declined. Although the industry is clearly desperate to find the next big group, and they are giving them a variety of platforms previous generations of groups never had, none of them could come close to BTS's numbers and impact while on hiatus. Like we saw in 2016 and 2017, the absence of the biggest is an opportunity to be seen. But without innovation or something different, anything different, what audiences see is a bunch of the same, and the next big group cannot organically be chosen in a space like this. Again, I blame the producers. The era of the Just Be Yourself groups was short-lived and had messy endings, so those groups and their producers are not relevant anymore. But the K-pop producers with their star image have this obsession with manufacturing everything. It's the label's projects and their decisions and their visions. Even when trying to create K-pop or non-K-pop groups that balance both being relatable and professional like BTS, they still fail to truly let the artists do something artistic on their own. They are too selfish or too scared to attempt a real balance. The wave of groups from the 2020s lacks real, raw human emotion and personality. They learned nothing from BTS because it was their lack of control from the industry what made them creative. So the early 2020s was an interesting era for girl groups and boy groups, but I'm honestly way more excited for the ways in which BTS is planning to change the industry again very soon.
Okay, Bora. Okay, Bora. You see what I'm saying? If she doesn't get to 100,000 subscribers, I'm gonna be upset, because I honestly feel that she deserves that plaque. Man, we get a lot of good content from her, and you know, that's the source for us. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, if you guys want to see that video without commentary, all that's going to be in the description below. But you know, it's pretty interesting to see the bad part for some people or some groups when it's the Be Yourself campaign, because in all actuality, I would think that's a good thing. I'm going to be honest with you. So this kind of took me for a loop, because I do feel like BTS is themselves. I do feel like they're themselves. They're able to have creative control in whatever type of music that they want to do. And for that, you know, that's the biggest Be Yourself campaign that you can prove and give. You know what I'm saying? But I think what the problem is with the other groups that were pushing that campaign that didn't get to the position that they wanted to get to, or they ended up breaking up, was because they weren't all synced into a goal that they wanted to reach together. Because the main reason why a lot of these groups end up breaking up is because one of them feels like he's the star, and he ends up leaving by, you know, doing a solo project, and then bam, you know, the group is gone. And then sometimes, you know, that individual does amazing, sometimes they don't, and they just fall off with the rest of the group. You know, obviously we have like someone like Justin Timberlake, where he broke off the group. You know, he's obviously still successful, became an actor. He still does music to this day. And, you know, it worked out for him. But that was the path that he chose. And he kind of already probably had it in his head that eventually he's going to become a solo artist and break out of that NSYNC era and just be himself. So what I see different here is BTS is 7. Is 7, is 7, is OT7 when there's not one BTS. This is from what I've heard BTS themselves say. If there's one person missing from BTS, it's not BTS. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not, it's over with. Like, however, that's not something that they push. That's not something that they're like, oh yeah, like, you know, we're gonna go do our own thing. No. Like, they're pushing for that unity. Bam, like, you know what I'm saying? Do you want to interlock and not ever let go? That's pretty much what they're pushing. Like, they even talked about how they were gonna be old BTS. They were gonna be BTS forever. They made a commitment to be BTS. They made a commitment to themselves as brothers. The beautiful thing is that they go do their thing, their projects, solo projects, and then come back to BTS, you know, with new fans, and then ARMY just gets bigger and bigger. You know what I'm saying? Because I think, you know what was one of the coolest things that I'm noticing? So Jungkook has a lot of music with a lot of US artists that speak English, and he's done a lot of English music. You know what I'm saying? As well as J-Hope, he's done a few English songs, but not really. You know what? Not really. I would say Jungkook has done some of the most, and I would say Jimin has done some English songs where it hits the market, the US market, and he's pretty much getting a fan base and bringing them back to BTS. So everyone's going through their solo message to find that audience and bring them back to the collective, to the Voltron head of BTS. You know what I'm saying? So it's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting to see, because being yourself is something that I think everybody should do. And it doesn't matter who you are, what you do. It doesn't matter. If you want to do a silly dance one day because you just feel that jitterbug inside of you, you just want to be like, you know, do that dance. If you just want to, you know, proceed or pursue something in your life, do it. If you want to do anything that's in your mind that you feel that it's speaking to you and it's almost a passion that you want to proceed to do, you should do it. It doesn't matter what your age is. It doesn't matter what obstacles you got to go through. It doesn't matter if there's people that are trying to block your way. At that point, it's like the cutoff season starts and it's time to cut people off, and it's time to move on to the true passion that you want to, you know, follow. Because I'm not going to lie. With this channel stuff, you know how many friends we have that don't watch our stuff? You know how many people, you know, don't care, you know, to see how good the channel's doing nowadays? You know what I'm saying? And you know what's crazy? This is coming from someone that posts a lot on social media, right? Let's say 2 years ago, I was posting on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Rest in peace to TikTok, though, because we got banned from there. But, you know, we would post a lot. And, you know, obviously it would say like 2 views, 3 views, and things like that. You know what I'm saying? And I would even send it directly to them and be like, hey, you know, if you get the time, check it out. You know, a subscribe would be amazing. You don't got to, but if you want to check it out, give me some pointers. That would be great. And I did that for a lot of people, man. Like, I really sent these messages to people. They would leave me on red, all of this stuff. And then it kind of got to the point where it was like, you know what? I understand. I understand that a lot of the homies, a lot of even family members are not going to be interested in anything that I'm interested in, and they're not going to see the passion that I have for this kind of stuff. So when this all came about, it was still promoting the Be Yourself campaign in our perspective of eFamily, because we were doing daily vlogs, we were doing music reactions, we were, really talking about life situations, how some of this music affects us, even if it's the most rawest gangster song you could think of. We implemented it because we understood what it is to live that life, and how, it's important to not let our kids continue that pattern, and we should encourage them to elevate and get out of that and do something with themselves, so we're not that stereotype that just sticks in the hood. You know what I'm saying? So these are the things that we were talking about even then, and people didn't want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? So we said, you know what, we're just going to continue being ourselves. It's okay, because at that point I'm really doing it because I love speaking to the camera. I love putting myself out there to give content. I love having these conversations in the chat. I love getting DMs and talking to you guys and stuff like that. Like, these are the things that I truly enjoy, and it's all because I am really being myself. I'm able to speak of the things that I've gone through, and whenever I don't know about, I don't really speak on, because I don't want to be the type of person that is going to be like, okay, let me just make this up real quick so we get some good views and be like, oh yeah, we agree to everything. No, I'm straight up with you guys. If there's something that I don't know, I do let you guys know. I look it up. I ask for help. I have questions. And you guys are nice enough to send us a DM. You know what I'm saying? But all in all, this is important, to be yourself, but you have to do it in the right way. You can't just be the yes man. You can't be, someone that is going to get told what to do, because at the end of the day, it's like, this all started because you guys enjoyed who I was. It's the same as BTS. We all enjoy who BTS is. We're not going to be like, hey, V, you need to change the way you sing. I don't like the way you sing. Or Jungkook, put on a shirt. We're not going to do that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because that's really them being themselves. They're expressing themselves. They're feeling themselves. That's when they're the most comfortable. So why would we want to, disrespect them by telling them to completely change the way they are? You know what I'm saying? So with us, is the same thing. Like, I like the kind of music that I like. Right now, I'm in a crazy journey where I'm deep diving into a lot of BTS, and I listen to it every single day. I'm not going to lie to you guys, but I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys and say that I still don't like CB, or I still don't listen to the homie drummer, or I still don't listen to, other artists that we've been checking out on this channel, or even rap music, or you know what I'm saying? Like, there's other stuff that make me who I am that I wouldn't change for the world, because at the end of the day, it's like I still got to tap in with what I'm around, my environment, but I'm also tapping in with what's outside of my environment, which is in the global scale. You know what I'm saying? So I think this is a cool opportunity for you guys to get to know us for who we truly are, because at the end of the day, we're not going to sugarcoat anything when it comes to, the music, or, if we like a certain something or whatever. Like, I feel like we all are grown enough to have that respect for each other, and we're not going to agree 1,000% with each other, and that's completely fine. That's what makes us us. You may like something I don't like. You may like a certain political view. I may not like that political view, and I'm going more this way or this way or this way. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, as long as we have respect for each other, love for each other, and respect people for people, and understand that people really are their own entities in this world, I think that's when we're going to have that understanding towards each other, and not try to tear each other down, because everyone is special in their own way. Everyone has their own path. Everyone has their own audience. You just got to put yourself out there to find that audience, And with that being said, I feel like I ranted a lot, because this was a good topic for me. I really love to have these conversations of be yourself, be yourself, be yourself, because this one was interesting, because the title is Be Yourself or Be a Star. So when I first read this, I really thought of it as like it's either I'm myself or I'm molded into becoming a star, a superstar in the music industry, or let's say in the podcast world, right? But it's like, what would I rather be? You know, because at the end of the day, I don't think I'm a people pleaser. I'm more of a person that likes to speak facts. And like I said, any type of knowledge that I may have, that's what I'm going to keep game. You know, I'm going to give you guys the game of what I know. And obviously, it could be another way too, where you guys tell me, because I mean, you know, there are people that are older than me out there that know way more than me, or that have gone through what I'm going through and can help me. You know what I'm saying? I see it as almost like a ladder. You know what I'm saying? We're all going up this ladder trying to elevate our life. We're all trying to be better. We're overcoming obstacles. We're elevating every step of the way. I'm trying to teach you guys what I personally know, what I've learned, the things that I teach even my kids, this household, what I do as a man to provide for the family, what I am capable of doing when it comes to, I manage so many different things at once, but my top priority is always family. Regardless of I got this going on, I got this going on, I got my 9 to 5 going on, my top priority is family, believe it or not. So you guys probably wondering, how does he make time? Trust me, I make time. Family time is very important to me, and that is number one. So to me, it's like, someone could be up there and I'm like struggling with something. And if you guys got that, please let me know in the comments. You know what I'm saying? Send me a DM if you guys don't want to leave a comment. It's cool. I don't mind. Like, the more help we give each other, the better and more elevated we're all going to become, because at the end of the day, I'm not trying to be someone that blocks giving information to anyone. I'm not trying to be that gatekeeper, as they like to say, you know what I'm saying, out here. I'm not trying to be a gatekeeper to information, So if you guys feel the same way, don't be a gatekeeper. Let us know in the comments what you feel, how you feel. It doesn't have to be for this video in specific, but it could be for any other video that we've been checking out, or if we see a song that kind of touches us in a different way, let's talk about it. Let's have that conversation, because I think what I'm going to start doing, low-key, is for the future, I want to react to the songs again. Take a little snippet of, let's say, what you guys are talking about and what lyric, let's say, a BTS member said. Because I could really have a whole conversation of a line that someone said in a song and kind of give that full context, even talk about the comment you left, give your story and things like that. And we could just have a really good conversation. And it'll be kind of a moment of truth, a moment of all of us being ourselves. You know what I'm saying? So going back to this video, though, I could understand why she wrote "Be Yourself" or "Be a Star," because we understand that the music industry is going to manufacture artists. They're also going to tell them what to do. It doesn't matter if you want to be yourself or they claim to be themselves all the time. At the end of the day, they're not going to be themselves. They're going to still be told what to do, and that's just facts. There's been so many times that an artist comes out and say, oh, I manage myself. I do this for myself. I do this, and that. But little do you know, when you start seeing the credits, it's like, wait, I thought you said you wrote this whole song, but you had 5 other people write with you. Like, how does that make sense? At that point, we know that it's all propaganda, and it just sounds good to say, hey, I'm being myself. But in all actuality, you're really not. You're pleasing, and the company is telling you what to do. BTS is really doing what they want to do, and we could see it through the type of music that they do. You know what I'm saying? I said I was going to get off, but I went on another tangent, because you see what I'm saying? These are the kind of ideas that I start having when I start checking out videos like this, because just be yourself, those 2 words made me have almost like a 20-minute conversation with you guys here, and just what that means, what that doesn't mean, how it applies to, the music industry, to BTS, to the different artists, to us personally, to you. I could go all over this and really talk about this, because This is such an important thing to me. This is one of the top of the list things that I tell my daughter, especially she's about to turn 8. These are the new things that I tell her, especially at this age. Be yourself, love yourself. I'm teaching her to do affirmations. If for me, it was hard for me to do affirmations for a long time, look at myself in the mirror. But for her, it's like, okay, you know what? I need to do this. So then I do it. I look at myself in the mirror. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm handsome today. I look good today. This hat fits me well today. Little by little, she's getting that. She's visualizing that, and now she does it. You know what I'm saying? So our kids see us do these things, and it's like, if she sees me continue to be myself every single day, she's going to eventually fall in that same category. Love herself first and foremost. She's going to start being herself, which is, she definitely is herself. And she's going to really turn out to be an amazing, amazing person, because just those two features right there can cause her personality and her, outlook in life to be more positive. Because I don't want her to be self-conscious, or I don't want her to be like, oh, like, oh, this and that, this is bugging me, or I don't like this about me. And it's like, no. Like, we're perfect in God's eyes. If you feel that, something, just remember, God made you perfect. You know what I'm saying? That's what I always tell everyone. God made you perfect. The way you smile, the way you look, the way you dress, your eyes, your hair, your lips, your nose, your ears, your jawline. Everything about you was made perfect by God. So please understand. You know what I'm saying? See, now I take it to a different avenue. So I think this is going to be a good idea. Low key. I feel like when I record these videos and I'm solo, I don't have that stoppage, because I do go on tangents, and my wife likes to get me like, okay, bam, let's talk about the song though. Let's talk about the video, because I go into different conversations, because these things align to so many different things in our personal lives. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's important that when we listen to something that has to do with, let's say, a musical artist that we're so heavily invested in, it's important to know why we're so invested in it. And I'm giving, I guess, my reasonings as to why I'm investing in it. Because, like I said, their biggest thing was love yourself. What do? I teach the same thing. I do the same thing. So I give examples of what I've done, what they do, and what BTS does. And I'm sure you guys will let me know what you guys do as well. So, I think that's going to be something for the future. Once we start getting into the albums and stuff like that, I would love for you guys to tell me, you know what? I think low key in this video, just to get this a little bit going, if you guys could do me a favor, this is what we're going to do in this video. I know it's going to be hard, but if you guys could give me your favorite lyrics from a BTS song, just give me the lyric and then the song title, and let me look it up, and I'll listen to the song. And then eventually I want to start making those series. Like I said, we play a little bit and talk about how meaningful that line is to the world, and why ARMY loves that line so much, and why, as ARMY, we implement what they say into our lives. And I think that would be an amazing series, to be honest with you. I'm throwing it out there. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. But make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to like this video. Follow us on Instagram. And I'm going to catch you guys in the next video. Peace and boraje.